Let's talk about your playing days and have a little fun with that. I know I didn't realize you're drafted by Boston, honestly, until I looked you up yesterday.
We were talking about this, Steger. Now, I didn't know that either. I don't know why I didn't know that, but you didn't even get in a game with them, but you were lighting it up in the minors, in the American League in Providence. You were what did you say something to the coach? You're a pretty witty guy. I don't know if, people that know you know that. Could be a little bit of a smart ass, which was my favorite thing about you, how dry you are. But I'm kidding. But we were looking at it, and I'm like, why didn't you get a sniff in Boston? They traded you before you even played a game there. But
yeah, so I think Shirelli came in. He was after I was drafted. I was drafted by O'Connell, and then when I started there, actually, I went back to junior and I was playing defense, right? So I didn't even think, and I didn't really have a good, I didn't really have a good year, and definitely troubled kid. I didn't really, and I didn't think I was going to get signed. And then I got called up to Providence at the end of the year. And then they put me back on forward. And then kind of after they saw how I played on forward, they decided to sign me, but they signed me to like a bare minimum NHL deal. So the next year when they got me, I don't think they really knew what they had besides Scott Gordon. Scott Gordon kind of knew what he had, but no one else did. And for the first 10 games, I played fourth line and I didn't really do much. But in the game 11, Peter Tankrat, if you know the name, he got called up to the NHL and I got put on the first line in the A and I played with David Krejci. And from then on, I think I had like 48 points and might have been like 30 games. He was an incredible player, man. He made the game so easy. And I was on this insane run. Like I hadn't had those points in the juniors even, right? But I really dedicated myself that summer. And then finally I get to the AHL and I'm doing this well. And Sean Donovan gets hurt. And I think I'm going to be in the NHL now because Scott Gordon's like, hey, maybe the night before, he's like, hey, maybe be ready. A couple guys got hurt. Glenn Murray, I think, got hurt too. And then we're on the bus to Manchester, and he calls me up to the front of the bus, and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm going to the NHL!" A year, not even 6 months ago, I was selling shirts at Sport Check. You know what I mean? I was working in hard goods and clothing at Sport Check, and now I'm going to the NHL. And so I get up there, and he's like, "You just got traded." And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you just got traded. He's like, we needed to bring someone in. I'm so sorry, but we needed someone to help now. They were kind of ninth spot, maybe. Okay. So then they ended up trading me for Brandon Bochenski. And so I ended up going with the team to the game, watched the game, and came back with them on the bus from Manchester. And then I went up to Norfolk after. But that's kind of the story, how I didn't think I never thought really I was going to play in the NHL at that point. I always had it as a vision as a kid. When I got to like my teenage years and drafted and then playing defense, I was like, it's not going to happen. And then within a little short stint of Scott Gordon, I really owe a lot to giving me an actual huge opportunity. I mean, I still don't even think Boston really knew what they had because I didn't even know what I was, so I went to Chicago and it started to blossom even a little bit more. And then I got another chance. So I got lucky too, like a lot of chances and opportunities along the way. But I think it was just, I was a real opportunist, just taking advantage of times that I could, where some guys don't, right? I think that's the biggest part. Well, and there's a lot of reasons for it. Sometimes, obviously, Florida, for sure, my welcome was thin. You know what I mean? Near the end, I had a lot of injuries. And then you go to other places, injuries. And then cap, I made too much money for what I was producing at the time. I was paid too much and I wasn't, producing enough for what I was paid. There's a lot of other various reasons, but the way I tried to pride myself was playing all three positions and playing 1 through 4 lines. I don't see myself as playing as much on the fourth, but generally on the third. Or a second line. When I was in Florida, it was the top line, and we ended up making the playoffs. So it was a great run. But kind of after that is when I had about a string of 5 big surgeries in 5 years, and the body just couldn't hold up. And that's not what I'm just attributing to the end of everything with. But again, you can't pay a guy as much as they're paying me to play as many games as I was. I understood it, and it sucked. But that's just how it was. But you're right. It was when you're playing in Chicago and you have Kane Tays, or you have Kane Hossa, Sharp, and those are like the wings. It's like, you got to do other things in order to be in the lineup, and you got to be able to play 1 through 3 lines, especially with Quenneville, because he really likes versatile players, guys that don't just play one set position. He likes guys that he can move from wing to wing to center. It's a really hard thing to do because the game's going so fast, but he likes that versatility because he likes to keep his horses going, and he doesn't care how I'm playing. If I'm playing good, he'll put me with the horse. The second I'm not playing good, I'm not playing with him anymore. So it kind of forces you to be versatile and forces you to play a way that maybe you don't want to play. But for myself, I would have, literally thinking back, like I would have like died to win, especially in my younger years. It's crazy to think like you think that way, but you did, right? And you're like willing to do it. And that's how I truly felt.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to me, but like, well, you missed the one. You could have had 3, but you were in Chicago for the one. But were you there with Chemo?
Yeah, that year, 2011, that was an unbelievable team. Oh, were you talking about 15? Sorry,
when I won 15.
Yeah. I played with him in 11 and 15. 11 with Philly and
with us.
15.
Yeah.
And watching him win it was unbelievable.
Oh my God,
that was awesome.
We had him on a few weeks ago, and I was like, that was one of my favorite ones to see a guy raise it, because he had been through a lot, and he's just a great guy too, which But when you were here in Philly, man, you played hurt a lot of. You guys never say that, but you were hurt. I remember you had surgery. You stuck around. My liver was bothering me for a while because you stayed around in the summer.
No,
and we were, and it was the spring, and we were out every freaking night, and I almost had to do something with my liver. But anyway, that was cool. You got to see that with Chemo. He's a great guy. And